Hey gang, so in the last couple of videos, I've been talking about functions, I've been talking about objects, and we have gotten to where we're transforming data using functions in loops. Now, we actually created 100 balls and we appended them to the div using a loop. And I started to talk about last time this thing called an array, which is actually a specific type of object which we can use to store data. And this is actually code from the last time I made this video, which didn't really work out. But we can see that we can actually build an array like this. We can build an array as an object with keys that have integers. And we'll see if we console.log my array. We'll see what we get. There's 2 balls in there. And each one is those balls. And I added this false, this alive key to the ball, which we'll use in this video or in a later video. And so we see we've got this array. An array is a type of object with integers as keys. I can access those keys. I can't use the dot notation. That is not acceptable. To access the keys of an array, I have to use these square brackets. And now that'll give me that first ball. Now there's a shorthand syntax, which is the most commonly used syntax for declaring an array. And this is I just write this just so you know, arrays are a type of object. But actually we always write arrays like this. So we'll say balls. And I'll just copy these in here. Now, if we wanted to make a new ball, we could use that for loop that we just had before. Or I'm sorry, if we wanted to make an array of balls, we can use that for loop that we just saw. So what we can do is we can say something like const balls equals an empty array. And you'll notice we can declare arrays and objects as constants, and we can modify the items inside the array. I can change the length of the array. I just can't make this into an object. So let me just show you an example. I can say balls.push 10 console.log balls. And we'll see that's fine. Even though this is a constant. If on the other hand I try to say balls equals now it's going to say no. Hi. Oh, that's funny. Assignment to constant variable. So I can't change the identity of this constant, but I can change its contents. So we'll make this array called constant, or we'll make this constant variable called balls and set it equal to an empty array, and we'll make a for loop. For let I equals 0, I less than 100, I plus plus balls at I equals new ball. And we can pass in this stuff. Or we could make this a get random color. And that's one way to initialize this array or fill this array with a bunch of these balls. Just like that. Now, I much prefer a different way of doing this, and the reason why I love arrays so much, actually, is because of these array methods. and they're all here at MDN. There's an array page that describes all of the different array methods. I'm going to show you 3 of my favorites in this video. And then in the next video, if you're interested, I'm going to show you how they work. We're going to sort of tear apart this array class. Array.from right here is absolutely one of my favorite. It's my favorite way to create an array every single time. So instead of initializing this to an empty array, and instead of having this for loop, I'm going to say const numBalls equals 100, and I'm going to say const balls equals array.from. And so this method from is a part of this array class, just like random is a part of math. Array.from is going to want 2 things. It wants a function, it wants a configuration object and a function. What? Okay, I get it that this is a little bit complicated, but you just have to learn this once, and then your life with lots of stuff is going to be better every single time. We're going to set this equal to a length of numBalls, and this function is going to return, for this length, it's going to return, whatever this function returns is going to get filled in to this array. So I'm going to put a new ball, and this new ball is going to have math.random times 1,000 twice, and then get random color. And we'll see that, oh, oops, I want a console.log balls, and we'll see we get all those balls. There they are, there's all the balls. Now, we aren't seeing those on the screen yet, so what we're going to do is create a new array. And we're going to call the map method of array. Now, see, this balls has become an array, so it has access to all the array methods. I can say balls.map, I can say balls.push, I can say balls.popSlice, all the different array methods. I can say balls.map to turn this into a bunch of divs. And here I'll just change this to ball. I can call this anything I want. This is coming from my array. This is coming from my array. This is each ball in my array. This function will run once for each time in my array, and it's going to create a new array of divs. And like I said, in the next video, I'm going to take this array apart, and we're going to see how that works. But for now, let's just use it. So we've got this balls.map, and we can console.log instead our new array. So array.map returns a new array. And we see now those have become divs. That's amazing. That's so easy. It makes so much sense, and it's so easy to read this code. You can see how I just create a number, and I go through and I make these balls. It's going to be an array. I map these balls into divs, and now I'm going to say, I'm going to get rid of this console.log, and I'm going to say divs.forEach, which is another array method, which does not return anything. So we'll just say for each div. So we're not going to return anything. We're going to say document.body.append child the div. And you can see here I called it ball. I can call it anything I want. It's going to be used here. We also have access in here to something called an index, and that's going to be like that value I in our for loop. And so I can say console.log index, and we'll get, in addition to posting these all to the document.body, as you can kind of start to see there, we'll get that list of 100 numbers. There they are. So those are to me the absolutely essential array methods, and I want to say I think it's a much better way to write loops than saying something like for let I equals 0, I less than num balls, I plus plus, and then we could in here we could do all these array things using this index. So we could, for instance, let's say we'll do balls equal to an empty array, or you know what, we don't even necessarily need to use those balls, but this is exactly what I did before, so I don't need to do this again right now. I just want to mention I think it's better than the for loop version. And in the next video, what I want to do is I want to talk about how these array methods work. I want to show you that we're going to actually create an array class. So grab a cup of coffee and come back for that one. We're going to make our own array class, and I'm going to make that map method, and we're going to see how that works, and hopefully that'll clear up why in this map method or in for each we have access to each item. Where does this come from, this ball? I'll see you in that video, and